Hey everyone, I hope everyone is doing well. This is my day 3 of the second week of the program, and starts out with a lot of front squats. As you notice, I'm popping up on knees pretty darn well with these warm-up sets with 230. On this day, I was wearing the SBD sleeves. I did this for the first, I think really this whole week. I was just feeling kind of beat up, and I just figured I'd throw them on. They're a bit tighter than wearing knee wraps. And apologize, my phone's getting invitations for stuff that doesn't matter to me right now for school. Anywho, I went up to 290 today for 4 sets of 5, and I tried to do these as unbroken as I could. So you'll see here, I'm unbroken for 3, for 4. Did I do 5? My crazy self did 5. I'm finding that I'm actually getting better at doing front squats in general, and this is very true because doing sets of 5 with this weight is pretty darn close to what my 1 rep max is. And while I'm talking about these, I'll calculate what percentage of that is of my current 1 rep max. So 290 divided by 345 is about 84%, so close to about 85%. And these started at 70-ish% with the first cycle of the strength stuff that I was doing. So this is really good, and feel like I could definitely do more weight. And looking at these, they look easy, but thinking about when I actually was doing them, they're quite difficult and taxing to do. I'm very glad I was able to do a lot of them unbroken until I got to the later sets. And hopefully I'm able to go up to 295 when I do them. I actually have them the next weeks of them tomorrow when I'm recording this, and hopefully I'm able to continue to build upon these and hit some heavy weights with this. While these are going on, just to give a brief update about kind of the general plans that I have going forward. I have this cycle of training. So right now what you're watching is the second week. I'm currently in the third week, so the date that you're watching this will be where I'm currently doing the third week of training. And at the next week and the week after, where I will conclude the next 5 weeks of training, I will do a deload, a very even more deload than the last time, to get super recovered, because I'm going to do a competition in the middle of May. And with that competition, I want to do a cycle of training that's focused on preparing for that meet and not just strength training like I am doing now. Once I do the competition in May, then I'll probably go back on doing a cycle of training that's similar to this, if not a little bit different. I've been getting really good results, seemingly, from doing this because I've been able to add a lot of weight and hit PRs and do all that stuff. So there's not a big reason to change too much with what I'm doing now, just make general adjustments with what I'm doing. These right here are the snatch pulls, doing them from a deficit. As I mentioned in the video for the day 1 workout, I'm going to do all my pulls from a deficit just to give myself a little bit more quad work when I'm doing these. The same rule applies with the clean pulls for these, where I have to get it above my belly button to be considered a pull. And I think all the pulls I did pretty much were above my belly button. If they weren't, they were pretty close, but for me, snatch pulls are pretty easy to get pretty high. The part that's difficult with the snatches is once I actually catch it. The pull part, thankfully, is the easy part. I can snatch deadlift, like I've done over 400 before, and I think way back in the day I did 450, and that was not with like snatch technique, it was just like deadlift form with a snatch grip. But thankfully, I don't struggle at the pulling portion. This is a very nice advantage to have because it's something I don't have to worry about. Just something I have to make sure is as efficient as possible, and it puts myself in the correct position for when I start to extend. These are an adjustment I made from the last cycle training with the max jerks. And this is last week. I forget what I got, but I didn't get as much as I got today. So you'll see that my jerks go generally well until I get to 270 pounds, and I was happy with how they looked and how they felt. I was jumping back a little bit, but I was getting my head under a little bit and the bar back, so I was getting them in a good position. This is my last good rep until I hit a PR on this one, which I was actually able to hit today, which is very awesome. So 270, you see I'll catch, but I catch it forward, so then I drop it because I wasn't able to stabilize it, which was annoying because it didn't feel that heavy. So I just pretended like I did it, because I pretty much did. Went up to 285, same thing happened. Kind of caught it, it was a little bit forward, and dropped it forward. Did 295. I just wanted a PR. I was in that weird mood where I was just like, I gotta be able to hit a PR today, feels fine. And then that one I was like, felt too heavy. Then I decided to get upset and get a bit deeper on my jerk, and then I actually got it, which is very surprising. So this is a PR out of the rec. My previous best, I think, was 285, which is really good for me, and that was really happy I was able to get that. So obviously the goal for when I do this workout again tomorrow is to do all those reps prior to that cleanly, so I'm actually doing correct reps and not failing them, and then going up to that weight. I'm not as disappointed as I could be because I was pretty much locking out the weights. I was just pushing the weights forward, so it wasn't as if I wasn't strong enough or technically wasn't doing them well enough to get it. I just was I guess technically I wasn't doing them well to get it because I was pushing it forward, but it was the only flaw. It wasn't as if I was not doing them to where I had no chance of them. And finished up the workout with doing some overhead press. Went up 10 pounds from last week, and I do believe on my last set I failed on the last rep. My shoulders just absolutely died. So I will be staying at this weight again for next week. My overhead press is really weak, so trying to get that a bit stronger. I think it's just going to help my bench. It's going to help everything in general. My best overhead press, I believe, is 170 or 175 pounds. So this is still a relatively high percentage with that. But I think as I continue to build my overhead press, that'll help my push press, it'll help my jerk, it'll help my bench. It will just help my shoulders in general just get a bit stronger. And one thing I'm trying to do with the overhead press is kind of the Riveto style as I get struggling with them and leaning back more, just so I can get the rep finished and get past that sticking point a little bit easier. It's not something I tried to do on all my reps because it's not really proper form precisely. I'm not worried about having perfect form on these, just trying to really just work my shoulders. And you see there, my shoulders absolutely died. Ended this workout with some pendling rows. I'm liking pendling rows more so than regular rows where I'm up because I can use less weight and I can rest it on the ground in between reps, so I'm not as I just don't have to do as much weight, and I really feel it in my upper back, which is good. I actually did 3 sets. I didn't record the first one because I wasn't sure if I was going to go up in weight or not. I'm going to continue with this exercise on this day as I move forward, assuming that it doesn't make me achy or anything. But that's really about it for this training, so I'll talk to you all in the next one. Have a great one. Peace.